Perfect. Okay. Here we go. Trying new things every time. Tilted my microphone a different angle for this episode. We're back again, this time as seen in episode number 2, here with my fiance, Kirsten. Kirsten, give them a bow.
A bow?
Yeah.
Like?
Just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what's up, B?
That reminds me the other day of just talking to our wedding photographer on the phone. And I was like, I have these cool kimonos as far as engagement for wedding shoots. But I was telling her, like, it's a kimono. She's like, oh, what pattern does it have on it? Like, is it super Asian-y? And I was like, oh, that sounded kind of racist. And I was like, no, it's just got some flower patterns on it. It's very nice.
It's kind of implied with a kimono, though, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yours is like a custom. It's not really a kimono.
Right. Not like an actual one. I think that's just the term for the, like, over the shoulder, long length, just like robe. But yeah, I was like, oh.
It's not really even a robe because it hangs open, right? There's
Right.
like no belt for it or anything.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's
But
like a unique long jacket.
Right. It's really pretty. But we were talking about that today. Just the photographer getting my hair done because she takes pictures and we were talking about wedding stuff and I was talking about some of the things that she said. Like, you know, you can wear this dress and make sure that you bring a jean jacket to throw over. You know, because some women don't like their arms. And right away I was thinking, like, that's kind of insulting.
But women don't like their arms.
No, that she would imply that, and that's something that she would say, like, right off the bat. Like, if you don't like your arms. But then I kept thinking a lot of women wear wedding dresses without sleeves or, you know, have some sort of spaghetti strap, whatever. So for her to be like, you know, if you don't like your arms, bring a jean jacket to throw over the dress.
People are just so self-conscious nowadays, though. I mean, us included.
I know, but I'm just saying for her to imply that, and then
it's not implied. I think she's just saying, like, in case you are.
Yeah, but she takes wedding photos. Like, that's her job. So you would think that she doesn't care who feels self-conscious or not. Like, they know what they're doing. She's
probably saying it because she's heard so many times that people are like, I'm self-conscious about my arms, so...
Yeah.
Jacket.
But and she kept saying shit. Like, many times. Like, when she was like, when you pick out what clothes you want, just throw them in a bag. Like, throw your shit in a bag. Bring it with.
I don't know if she'd really like it if I threw my shit in a bag and brought it with.
I know. I don't mean to talk crap about this lady either. I was just like, that call was, like, very revealing of her personality. And I'm very curious to see how the shoot's going to go.
Tuesday, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm supposed to hold the work phone Tuesday, so that's what I was trying to tell you earlier. And then whatever happened and we got cut off or something and we had sushi.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. So,
Dang.
Yeah. It's not the normal work phone, the emergency phone. It's the other one. So I imagine that it's fine, but...
Right.
Yeah.
We'll see. I would like to say, though, that, like, as I've been drinking, when I drink, I like to spend money.
Yeah. Just want to say it.
Yeah, I just want to say it. I know, like, you were just talking about computers. I was like, oh, computers. I could use one of those, like a nice one. But I know you could use one, too.
We should just get a desktop.
I don't know what it is about desktops that... it's so bulky.
It's so much cheaper.
Yep, maybe cheaper, that's one thing, but they're just
so much better.
Old.
They're not old, though. You can get the fun-looking ones with all the glowy stuff.
That reminds me of, what was it? What was the brand? Was it Microsoft or something? They had, like, the clear backs, but they were, like, neon colors.
sounds like the old Apple ones, kind
Was
of.
it Apple?
They had
Like they were see-through and like they
yeah,
were
kind of
blue or
translucent.
orange or
Yeah.
yellow. Yeah.
Yep.
I remember I wanted those real bad, and my mom's like,
I think that's what was in the Zoolander movie. Like the computer that the files are in the computer. The kind of computer they busted open.
how old is that movie?
If I had to guess, I would say 2003.
Yeah, but like they had more evolved computers at that point, right? That was
Not really. I remember one of my friends when I was a senior in high school. That's what the computer at their house was. One of those.
2003 seems a little early though. I graduated high school in 2009. I'm pretty sure that movie came out like 2005, maybe 2007.
The computer may have come out before the movie.
I know, but why would they be using an old computer in the movie? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's just an Office Space scene.
I know. Sorry.
Top of the line computer for them to smash open.
There you go.
That's what we gotta have. That primo stuff.
Yeah, I don't like that idea. I like the laptop better because it's something you can take with you. You can't take a desktop. So like imagine we go up to Breckenridge again for a little vacation. We want to do another recording. We want a laptop.
See, and I mean, I don't really need the laptop for anything urgent. Like, we can do this recording and stuff without having anything hooked up to a computer. But I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like what makes the most sense as far as how far will the dollar go? Sounded like Jude. The laptop, I guess my problem is I've always had issues with laptops. They just get some sort of virus on it and then it's game over pretty much. And then there goes the investment. But that's probably a lot of that is me not knowing what to do to fix a laptop or whatever.
My mom's really good at that.
I've got like 2 of them under the bed right now. So
Really?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
you probably did. Maybe there's just one now because I've been using one of them. Yeah. The one that I have Photoshop on, it just like won't even, it takes so long to do anything.
I have, was Asus one of the ones that you've been looking at?
I've heard of them, but no, it's not.
I think they're fairly cheap. I can't imagine my mom spent a ton of money on it, but she got one for me for college. Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah. This is
Sorry.
half ASMR channel because of all the squeaky chairs and furniture.
That's really not that bad though.
It's definitely audible. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not bad. Anyways, my mom bought me this computer and that pooped out pretty fast too. Like right now it's super slow.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time
She didn't fix that one?
She tried to. I feel like it's just like the brand, like whatever, like it's just not great. I just remember she like did a bunch of stuff. It's, just getting rid of all of the crap on there that's like unnecessary, clearing the cookies and stuff. And like she does like a reboot, kind of like I was doing, yesterday. Yeah, like we're hitting F12. I don't know. And like that, like diagnoses the problems, but
well, I don't know what to do with it from there even, so
I'll just buy you a new one. Maybe I'll do it tonight. We'll see what happens.
no. I don't even know what I'm looking for. I don't know what any of it means. All that I know is that I want something that is as cheap as it can be. If it's used or refurbished, then I want to know that it's reliable because I don't know enough about computers. I want to be able to edit videos that can handle 4K and music, and that's about it. Photoshop. So if I can edit photos, videos, music.
I was looking at those Mac ones that you were talking about, the refurbished ones. I think they're on like Walmart or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, I saw a couple for like $300 to $400.
Really? Yeah. Wow. And that's like the older ones, yeah?
Yeah, refurbished. But at the same time, I just, there's something about like if you were to buy like an old laptop that maybe someone used before, like I get you can like wipe them out completely, but then I've seen way too many scary movies where you get like an old laptop, pop it open, someone's getting murdered all of a sudden, and like or like they can watch you, like who knows what's installed in there, and like it just sounds kind of creepy.
Yeah, that could happen in any computer. I don't know.
That's why I tape mine off.
Right.
That's what Kyle was telling me. It was like Zuckerberg or someone, like Gates, I don't know. They like had one of those little protector things over the camera, which I could see for like a more powerful person. That could be an issue. Like if hackers are able to get into your computer, they can clearly see, you know what I mean? Like they have probably access to the camera, but I always put tape over it. Kyle brought that up. He's like, just don't do it. Put that tape over there.
How long ago was that you got that advice?
I would say when they gave me a laptop. Like I had that like one that they had before. It was like the Beats Music one. Like it was a really nice laptop. It was a lot bigger. I put the tape over that one. So it's been a while. Years.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a girl who I dated a long time ago, and her dad, they had an Xbox 360, and there was a camera that you could like, it's called the Kinect. You could play games like how the Wii had, but he would always put tape over that camera on the Xbox, and I was like, this guy's pretty nuts. And now I'm like, he was ahead of the game.
Right. They're watching you.
Yeah.
That's like the coworker I have like freaking out about them monitoring our chats. Like that's like the least of my worries. Like I with my 2 laptops that have been shutting down, the battery issues. And then I get this like little, like just a link, like what's your password? You type it in, it expires after a couple times, whatever. Like there's so many different people that we have in our tech team that like, I don't know who they are. And they're just accessing my laptops. Like who knows what they're getting into. Like I know that they can remote control them, but normally like it just shows when they're doing that. But
what a lame job.
Yeah.
Oh,
hi Peep.
Hey Peep.
She probably went through that peanut butter already.
Yeah, she's probably thirsty, and now we got the tripod blocking our water bowl.
And she's got lots of room. She'll snake her way through there.
Maybe next year. Thirsty Peep. Yeah, I mean, and they totally could, but it seems like it would take a lot of time with all the employees under that umbrella and them trying to scan all of the chats for anything to a fireable offense.
Right. I just like to think that like when I picture their like breakdown of importance, like you have corporate, you've got like the higher up, like financial maybe, and then it breaks down and you've got the care, the drivers and all of that. I like to picture myself on like not the top tier, maybe not even the second, but it's kind of up there. You know, I've got important information. I talk to important people.
You're like the CIA.
No.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I feel like we get like stock information, you know, and that's where like insider trading and all that stuff. I don't know. Like I know that there's information I have access to that maybe not other people would have.
Risky business.
Yeah.
Insider trading.
Yeah, we get a lot of emails about that.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
wow.
They're super serious about it, and it's funny because I've like not talked to people about it, but like I've mentioned like, oh, like this is, you know, we get these emails like I'm doing right now, and it's just like you can't share that information, like the seriousness of it, even though it seems kind of like, I don't know, they base it off of like updates and stuff that we make. So like when we acquired deliveries through Burger King and Taco Bell and stuff like that, they were like, they made a big deal out of it, like, well, your stock's probably gonna go up.
Oh, I see.
Like, yeah, like beforehand, and it did, and now it's plummeting. But I know nothing about that.
What's the problem with selling stock when it makes sense?
Well, I did. You saw that. That was like the peak of it. And it's funny because when I sold some stock for some profits, that was like the best time to do it because I didn't know that it was going to go up at that point in time. Like we saw it kind of going up and down, but like it hit its peak. Like that was like the peak of it.
Which was probably like a week after or something.
Yeah. But I mean, I talked to several people and a lot of them saw like that, you know, whatever dollar point. It was like, yeah, this makes sense. And like, it was a good time for me to do it. I don't regret it at all now.
Nice, B.
Sorry, if
burp.
you can burp, I can do that. The sushi was really good.
No, burps are way better.
Can we like flip this real quick? This conversation about how dope our bedroom is. I would just
to
explain it to people.
Sure. Yeah.
So
you should have done the podcast in the bedroom.
Maybe next time.
Actually, while you're doing this, B, I'm just gonna flip this screen around here. So just keep talking.
So we can see ourselves. So before we were engaged, I really harassed Eli and I said, we have to live together. And he was like, whatever. But I always was the one to bring things up, the big things. So I decided like if we're moving in together, it would be a good idea to get some new furniture to make it look nice. And as far as the living room goes, like we really lucked out because my parents sold me essentially for free like this dope ass couch and everyone loves it. Like people fall asleep on it. It's like a Tempur-Pedic couch and it's huge. Like you can fit 2 people, maybe even 3 people on it.
We don't brag much, but about this couch, yes. It is very, very dope.
Yeah, they definitely missed out on the couch. They had it for a long time, but yeah, so the couch is really nice. I'm a big fan of the cowhides. I mean, like whatever, I do my part.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. But I got a big one. Like, I think, was that ever in our room? No. So I was like, I want that for the living room. We did that. And then
we're talking about cowhide rugs. So you guys know. So these are just like, I guess the back and sides of a cow.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the skin layer that's cut up. So if you thought about like a tent in Native American culture, a tent material, it's kind of like that. But cow skin rugs, we've got 2 of those thanks to Kirsten.
2 now.
Continue, please.
When we moved together, I was like, I'm going to get some nice new furniture. It's going to feel like home. So I bought this like super dope bed frame. Like it's shiny. It's a canopy bed. It's blue. It has like a big white, it's like the bed, not the bed frame, like the back part of it. It's like white cushiony. But yeah, it's blue. It's shiny, canopy bed, queen size bed, right?
Yes.
It's really nice. And then I bought, the cowhide for the living room. I also bought a sheepskin rug because I just, you see those fancy like Pinterest or whatever, and they've got like the nice rugs. So that was at the end of our bed, not the end, like next to it. So where we got in bed. And then recently I put up some fancy Christmas lights around the bed frame. So now it's like super soft in there. And then for the wedding, I wanted a white cowhide. And like that was going to be on the balcony porch area, which would be our dance floor. And I ended up getting a deal. There's a place called the Twisted Pine, right? Yes.
I think that's what, I haven't been there, but I think that's what you say it's called.
Okay. But yeah, they had a really big one. It kind of looked like a zebra. And then there was like a smaller white one, which is ideally what I wanted. So I ended up going for the smaller one. They gave me a really good deal. So yeah, we're going to use that as an altar for our wedding. And then at the same time, it fit in our room perfectly. Yeah, we'll have to do something like this in our bedroom sometime just so people can see what it looks like. But it's like, I picture like, again, Pinterest. Not a heavy Pinterest user, but for like the wedding, I've been looking at it. And yeah, it's just like, it has a lot of really good things. Dark wood, like our dressers and stuff like that. Like it's just really nice. So yeah. I like our bedroom. I'm very proud of it. I've worked very hard and lots of money to make it look how it is.
Yes. And it looks great. And the sheepskin and the cowhides are fantastic. And this is coming from 2 somewhat recent vegans. So take that as an experience. But yeah, I guess the materials are going somewhere. So at least we're using them every day.
Right. And they're pretty. And our blanket. the feather.
Yeah,
like the
that's
down.
a down blanket. Yeah. 1 million geese were killed in the making of this blanket.
Perhaps. But I love those. Like when you go to the nice fancy hotels and like that's like what you have. Like it's so nice, and I'm so glad. That was a good investment too. But we got it from IKEA, so who knows what's actually in there. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Probably Swedish geese. Just beat the shit out of those Swedish geese.
I was listening to the radio and they were talking about that Wagyu.
Oh yeah.
They massage
Oh yeah.
the beef.
Yeah. Yep. Nice and fat. They like feed it beer and everything.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I didn't realize that because I know like they were talking about the marbled beef, so like a lot of
Yeah,
fat.
a lot of fat.
Yeah. I didn't know what that was. Like I always knew, like I saw some article about some of it as being like fake. Like it's not actually real Wagyu or whatever, but I think Wagyu.
Which probably
Wagyu.
means it's better.
Maybe.
If it's fake Wagyu.
But
Yeah.
anyways.
That's nasty. That's like foie gras or whatever, where they
Foie gras.
force foie gras. Keep going, B. I'm gonna move this camera a little bit more. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
This is what happens
Foie
when
gras.
there's no third person manning the outside stuff.
We'll teach Jude how to.
We'll teach the pup how to.
Geese. Sorry. No, I was going to talk about all the people from culinary school and how they would be ashamed of me for the foie gras. I don't even remember anymore, but I know what you're talking about. And for the longest time, I never knew what that meant. And then someone had to explain it to me. I think it's the same person that cooked with that the first time I saw it happening that taught me how to cut a pepper. So like when I cut the top off the pepper.
Yeah, just rip out all them seedy boys.
Yep.
Seedy things.
CD boys.
Seedy seeds.
CD boys.
CDCs.
That's what I'm saying. CD boys.
Well, I have a problem with that. Just kidding.
I don't. See, okay, so if anyone that's
Oh yeah,
watching,
they've been told about
have
Robert
they?
Plant. Yeah.
Really? Oh, it needs some water. It is dry as fuck.
So you guys can all thank Kirsten for saving this plant and rehabilitating it. We've talked about it a couple of times.
Wait, will you do me a favor and grab some water real quick before we forget?
I've gotten up a lot
Okay, I will.
during this
Just
episode.
explain how you wanted to throw this poor little
We've
plant
already
away.
talked about it like 2-3 times.
Okay.
Okay.
Water before I forget.
Okay, so for those of you who are tuning in for the first time in this episode and have interest in learning more about a plant from Walmart, that is a plant from Walmart, and I bought it, and I thought it was dead, and I gave up on it, and Kirsten did not give up on it, and she rehabilitated this plant, and it's doing pretty well. If you don't mind moving that bottle and also the plant. Yeah.
Is that okay?
I'd set it off the table if you don't mind. The plant can go back where it was.
Well, I was just leaking a little bit of water.
Oh, okay.
They're just shut. Apparently, I didn't realize that this case was
Burlap and
not
plastic.
No, the plastic. I didn't realize that it was like that there were holes in the bottom that it would seep through. Because I've done that plenty of times where I put a lot of water in here, but like there's a bunch of water under here.
Yeah, don't usually those things have holes in the bottom? I thought like all pots had.
Well, here's the thing: is I've poured a lot of water in here before and have never noticed it seeping out. But apparently, there is a lot of water down there. So this little sack thing, it's actually done a good job of keeping the water in.
Thanks, Walmart.
This plant was only $5, and Eli wanted to kill it, and here it is growing, thriving. We should put it in a bigger pot. It's kind of like the aloe plant. I apparently overwatered it, the aloe plant. That's what my mom was telling me, and that's why it was dying, and like why the branches were like.
Your mom knew how much water you put in it?
I told her. She was like, well, why is it dying? I was like, I don't know. She said, you put too much water in there, and I was like, well, I've been watering it all the time. And apparently they just need to water like once every like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, succulents don't need much water. That's why they're around here.
Well, the nice thing about the aloe plant is that it reminds me of Kyle and Chelsea talking about their aloe plant. Like if you just put it out, you just don't even look at it, like it'll just heal. And so the one out there, like it's sprouting new stuff like right out the middle. It's like psh, psh, psh. So the ones on the outside are like floppy and dead, maybe, but inside it's like psh, psh, psh.
So you want that to be our next aloe plant? It looks like it's turning into it.
The same aloe plant. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
This?
I'm just saying that you want that to be like the aloe plant.
Yeah.
There's our horticulture minute, guys. So thanks for tuning in to our planting podcast moment. Now you can watch Robert plant in front of our 316 clock while you experience the ASMR of the beautiful, yeah, well,
yeah, it reminds me of Kill Tony when you say that he gets super mad at the fart noises, like that's your.
Yeah, only fart noises are funny. Well, it's not.
Like that's hilarious.
No.
What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
Oh, that okay. So we were doing like a throwback Thursday at work. So we use Slack to talk, which is like a communication. It's like AOL in a way. I never really used that much, but just from what I know of it, it's just like a chat system, and you can talk to several people in a group or whatever. So there's different channels, and for the account managers, they've been doing Throwback Thursday. Last week was like old pictures from when you were a baby, and then this week was like any sort of red carpet event pre-2000 or something like that, maybe 2010s, I don't know. But I knew deep down like there was only one person like that I could think like prior to that time that like I would want to share a throwback of, and the theme was like dressed, like, you know, best dressed or whatever. So, of course, people were sharing pictures of Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, you know, the denim and everything. And my, like, first instinct was Tom Cruise. And I wanted to post, like, you know, I love me some Tom Cruise, but I was afraid that people would judge me. So
probably
I didn't.
Would, yeah.
Yeah, I no doubt. But then my boss actually surprisingly posted a picture of Tom Cruise. And then I remember, I think it was like MTV or something, and Ben Stiller dressed as Tom Cruise. And I was like, oh, thank God someone else posted a picture of Tom Cruise. I don't know if you remember that, but he dressed as him, and like it was like a big joke or whatever. But anyways, I thought that was awesome.
So the only requirement was to post something about actors from the 90s. Am I gathering that right?
Basically, like best dressed, like red carpet sort of events or whatever. And I like spent probably more time than I should have during my work hours looking for a decent red carpet Tom Cruise picture from like the 90s.
It seems like a really easy task. I mean, I wouldn't go to Tom Cruise. Like, that would not at all be my choice. But to find something dope from the 90s from a red carpet, I think I would immediately start with Keenan and Kel and then work my way backwards from there.
Yeah.
I am sure there's a lot of silly shit. Halle Berry.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
It was like actually surprising the amount of people that posted, like I said, like the NSYNC, Britney Spears, like, come on, people. There's a lot more. And I definitely found stuff, like, I found stuff from like the 80s that I thought was hilarious, like Bon Jovi, like, what's his face? Damn, I was spacing out so hard. But anyways, like I found a lot of like early 80s, 90s celebrities that I was like, this would be good, but like no one would understand. And at the same time, I still just like really wanted to share Tom Cruise.
Yeah, well, and Tom Cruise was shared, so.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was like, I'll take that as a win. I was like the only person in our group that didn't share a picture, but that's because like whatever.
You thought about it though.
Yep.
You were close.
Like an hour. I spent like an hour of work time trying to find a picture of someone, but like
getting paid.
Yay, salary.
Yay, celery.
I have nothing against celery.
Me neither, especially with peanut butter and some chocolate chips, ants on a log.
Ooh, chocolate chips. No, it's raisins.
It is raisins if you're a loser.
I remember like when we first started dating, that was like a gift I brought to you. I used to buy you like shirts and stuff, like the "Don't Be a Pussy" shirt, which you
Couple
probably
shirts.
couldn't wear today. I mean, like maybe you
Shirts.
could.
I know, and even then it was like risque in a way.
Really?
I wore
thought
it to
was
the gym,
hilarious.
I
Yeah.
wear it to the gym and stuff, but yeah, there's not a lot of other places. I guess I could wear it on this podcast, but
I feel like it's gotten a lot worse in the last couple of years,
Yeah.
just as far as like everyone, and like not
Can't
to
say pussy.
downplay like things that have actually happened, but the amount of like offensive material, like people like getting like, oh my
Yeah.
god, like I hate
Why
it.
is pussy negative?
Right.
Why is that a yeah?
I have
Come
no
on,
issue with
so
it.
is dick.
Boys.
But so is dick. You could say don't be a dick. And you're
Ooh.
not going to hear guys being like, don't say that. Dicks are
No.
good.
I can't remember.
But if you say don't be a pussy, then all of a sudden nowadays it's like, what did pussies ever do to you?
Right. I remember I used dick at some point in like a conversation not long ago. I can't remember who it was with, but I feel like their response was like super like, it was very dry. Like we were having a good conversation. Said
Dry
something about,
dick.
sure. But I said something about like dick, and then they were just kind of like, oh. And then it just like turned like, bleh. I don't know.
Turned Christian real fast after
I don't
that.
like that. I don't like that.
Well, what are you going to do?
I don't know. File some sort of complaint with like the people.
The people.
Everyone, bring back dick, bring back pussy. You know what word? Like it was funny when I was young. I remember like we thought we knew all the swear words, and the only one that we didn't know was the C one. And I remember like we would spend like, this was like little tiny kids, and we would spend like not long just trying to figure out what the word was. So we would like make up words, and my mom would be like, nope, not it. Nope, not it. And then eventually we learned the C word. And I was like, really? That's really not that bad. But for some reason, I feel like that one, yeah. I feel like that word is...
Keep trying, kids.
I feel like that word is treated way more offensively than like it really should be. And it's just weird because like we were watching that show, Lunatics.
Yeah.
And
In
to me-
Australia, New Zealand, it's like they just throw it around.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You
Like,
dumb cunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's hilarious to me.
Why does that word have any more power than any other one?
Well, I don't know if it's so, at least from my perspective, I know like my parents fought a lot, right? And like my dad would swear at my mom, or my like biological father rather. So
Brag
I don't know,
about
like
it.
she like hated that word. Like she was like, don't fucking use that word. Like she would even swear saying not to use that word. And so to me, it was just
Whatever.
like maybe she took it offensively. So something is ingrained in my mind for the longest time not to use it. But now I'll throw it out. Like when we're talking about lunatics, like it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that there's any reason why that, like, it's all up to you. It's all up to you how much value you want to put on the word.
Mm-hmm.
I completely understand why there's a reason why people don't want to offend other people. There's a good reason why people don't want to upset one another or shame one another or box anyone out, oppress anyone by the use of their language. But at the same time, like, if I say cunt, that has nothing to do with anyone's sexuality. It doesn't have to do with their race. I think that should be just as fair game as shit, fuck, ass, damn, you know? Like, well, bitch, yeah. Yeah, even bitch is female in nature, but you don't need to mean it that way.
Right.
And cunt,
unless it's directed at you, there really shouldn't be any offense taken. That's my opinion.
yeah, right.
Ooh,
and
big lightning.
Even then, it's still up to you to decide how important that word is. Because you could say, you're a winner. That's just somebody moving their mouth and making noise that comes out, and then you happen to feel good about it. There's not much difference about them moving their mouth and making noise to say cunt, and then you choose
To take it offensively.
Yeah. That's all just sounds. Mouth movement and sounds. We create the value that we put onto it. And then, then people get offended as a result.
I was going to say kind of like the larger picture of things, like the grand scheme of things, like millennials. Like, I don't like the idea of being grouped in with them. I don't really know the breakdown of it. It wasn't long ago that I looked into it. And I think we're technically millennials. Like, I know they're kind of evolving it over time. Like, this group is a millennial. And they turn into, like, Gen
Are
something. I think so. But the
Really?
thing is, yeah, I think so. When you picture millennial in your head, it's the people that, like, want to be rewarded things easily. They don't want to have to work for what they do. They take things offensively. Like, they're the social warriors, or whatever, the
SJ Dubs.
social media warriors.
Social justice warriors.
So
not that there's
frustrating.
anything wrong with social justice, but to attack people
Well,
to
that's the
try to
thing.
make change is not a viable way of
Right.
doing it.
They're hypocritical. Like, so they'll be like, oh, I'm trying to think of, like, social media, or, like, I was thinking fucking BuzzFeed. Like, so stupid. But, like, they post those things, you read them, and then people, not me, sorry. Anyways, no one that we know, hopefully, would post on there. And then people will attack, like, even celebrities. Like, you don't really know them. Like, you don't know them at all, or any other person. And then, like,
No.
they preach things like this is how you're supposed to do it, but at the same time they're, like, attacking someone, which is, like, against what they're doing. But anyways, the whole millennial thing, I was just getting back to the point where those people take things more offensively. It's, like, straight to heart. Like, they don't have a backbone, they don't have a spine. It's just like, oh my god, this is the worst. Yeah, well, obviously that's generalizing, but I picture Kyle definitely a millennial. Like, he he will take what he can get. He wants
Kyle's her brother.
He wants things handed to him. He's definitely, like, needs an award for just participating kind of person.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like that, and it may be not even related to when they were born. It's just the way society is molding people now.
Yes.
I mean, if you're 35 and you're just as dick deep in social media as somebody who's 18, you're going to end up acting like them, and it may not just be your activity on social media, but that behavior. And something that I'm feeling recently that I want to get rid of is the whole, like, how can I get this now?
Right.
Like, things should be here now. And that, I mean, I know that's, like, a lot of online Amazon culture is, like, pushing this whole, like, if you want it, it'll be here tomorrow, know, but, like, things were not like that for many, many, many years. So trying to figure out how to, like, navigate my expectations versus what's realistic. I mean, I guess it is realistic because it's obtainable, but my expectations versus, like, what's just me acting out of a result of the changes in culture and how we accumulate things.
Right.
I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, it's really not necessarily a year that we were born. It's how we've grown into the social media and the platforms that are now given to us. Like, how do we take that? How do we deal with it? Like, if you think about some people probably around our age, they don't have social media, and they don't have social media, right? And, like, they refuse to join it, and look at them. Like, their lives are probably completely different than those people that, and I do that. Like, there was a brief period of time where I wasn't on, like, Facebook, right? And that to me was a little tough, but you're kind of parting yourself from what everyone else, and that's another big thing that, like, really bugs me being on Pinterest at least, is like seeing all these skinny ass girls and like all of their dope ass things. And I'm like, oh, I want that. And I know that will never be me. And like, I have to keep reminding myself, like, this is just a thing. Like, it's not real. But, yeah, I remember too, like living in Wisconsin as a small child, Campbellsport, small town. And, you know, like there would be a flood or a tornado warning. Like there would be a ton of stuff going on and you're out and about. You don't have a cell phone. And like your parents are calling the neighbors like, well, where are the kids? Like who's watching them? And like, that's it. But they don't worry enough to be like, you know, we have to text them and find out where they are. It's just kind of hope for the best. And those kids like survived off of natural instincts. Like, okay, clearly this isn't right. There's a lot of water. Like I need to get home, or like those clouds are looking pretty crazy. So in that sense, I think there's some sort of natural selection, you know, like we made it. So I think further down the line, these younger kids are just going to either evolve and be really smart and have lots of money and not be dumb, or some sort of crazy disease is going to wipe everyone out and it's going to be contagious through like the internet, kind of like a scary movie I watched, and everyone's going to die. That escalated quickly. I'm sorry, but like
I just
kind of like,
lost my point.
Sorry, but yeah, no, there's just a lot like millennial, that whole phrase of like, just it's not necessarily like the generation so much as it is
talking to the top.
Okay, it's not so much. I've been talking into the side the entire time. So.
No. It's just when you start looking down here and doing this.
Okay.
If you put your headphones in, you can notice that you can't hear yourself anymore.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I decided to take them out because I wasn't like, I like being able to like talk. But anyways, yeah, I agree with you as far as just like technology goes. It makes a big impact. So like the more accessible platforms and ways that we have to do things, it just, yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose of living in a way.
Well, I don't know about defeats the purpose of living, but there are a lot of changes that have happened even since we were kids, which in all reality wasn't that long ago, you know, a couple of decades, 3 decades, you know.
I love the rain. Sorry. Everyone that's listening right now, real quick, there's lots of thunder and lightning and rain. Carry on.
Okay. But even since then, you know, that was like a time when I would get off of school and myself and tons of other kids would get off school and you would walk home. You would walk home and you would be at home alone until your parents got home from work. And you would either be expected to get all your stuff done and be like chores, homework, everything done when your parents got home, or you were expected to play outside until they got home, you know, and like none of this is the case anymore.
Right.
And I say like everything that I guess we talk about, it's hard because you don't want to I don't want to generalize, because I guess deep down you just know everyone's experience is very unique and individual. However, it seems that the trend is leaning towards kids being I guess coddled in a way.
For sure.
And I guess it's been like that. If we look back to like the 1920s, I'm sure kids had it way harder than they did in the 30s, than the 40s, than the 50s. I'm sure it's always getting easier, but we've reached a point with technology especially where it's just so easy, and it's separated the things like Common Core math, stuff like that. It's just completely separating parents from their children. And it's creating this generation that if we are millennials, if we are in the same generation, then it's creating a sub-generation that's completely different than anything else. When I mean, soon after I was out of high school, kids in elementary school were getting iPads.
Mm-hmm.
Never. I mean, I didn't even learn how to type in school.
I had a track phone and I played Snake on it. And that was for emergencies. Yeah, it's kind of twisted. That's just where
different.
We're going.
It's just
just
different.
I imagine that on the off chance someday that we were to have one child, because I couldn't imagine more than that. At least not right now.
Only children are all fucking weird, though.
Okay, so like 2, 1.5.
Except Nick.
1.5. Yes, bless you, Nick.
Bless you, Nick. Got you.
1.5 children.
Nice.
To say whatever.
Legs only.
I like the way that, like, I don't picture, well, even homeschool, but like I picture like things would be different. Like they would be so blocked off, like in a sense. Yeah, it's weird because I've seen like on social media, like they give examples maybe. And see, there you go. Social media, like using that again to look at things these days. But like children's math problems, my grandma posts a lot of this shit, so it could be wrong. She's a little crazy. But like the Common Core math and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like what? Like it doesn't make sense at all. Like what are they teaching these kids? And that it kind of goes back to even when we were like children, learning algebra and shit. Like that doesn't apply to my life like at all. Like there's at no point in my life that makes sense. Like I multiply, divide, subtract, add.
Yeah, there are things that you can use a calculator for. I get it. I mean, out of all of them, geometry and algebra, I can see having some sort of use.
I failed algebra.
I liked algebra. I wasn't good at geometry, but I can see its benefits. Like even when you play pool or billiards rather, you can tell there's like obvious benefit to knowing geometry. If you hit this angle and it bounces off the wall and it creates this angle, then you can hit the ball. So like,
yeah, but I'm better at pool than you.
Probably. Yeah. But I'm just saying that there is like actual real world use. Mini golf. There's real world uses to geometry. Algebra is kind of basic math with equations. Maybe not so much use, but those two things, sure. I don't think you need like advanced calculus to make it through an adult life in the 21st century. Doesn't seem like it. And I'm guessing we're only getting further and further away from needing that.
Yeah, definitely. But this kind of all goes back again to like the whole where we're at these days and like children learning like how people feel entitled. Like I hate that. That's the biggest one, like the entitlement. And that's just kind of generalizing. Obviously, there are certain people that probably aren't that way, but a lot of our population, I'm sure it just feels like, okay, where's my trophy?
We're kind of, and everyone's being taught that you deserve it. And
see, that's the biggest thing. Okay, the deserve. Like that is so annoying to me is that I feel like a lot of the people, even people I work with, like they just recently hired, the upgrade account managers, which I've talked about in the past. So those are people that, don't necessarily have the same position I do. They're hired on to do one thing. Eventually they'll move into the same position, but like they're younger people and they're annoying as fuck, like super annoying. And they have this pretentious, like, well, this is my job. Like they take the job and then they like turn it into something that it's not. Like I'm doing this. I'm so great. And like, look at how good I am and all this information I have. And like, I've only been doing it for 2 months, but I know everything. And I just like, I picture these kids are clearly a little bit younger than me by a couple of years. So they grew up a little bit later. They had the iPhones, they had whatever, just growing up, and they're very annoying. That's all. Like they think they know everything and they don't.
Yeah. I mean, and that may have been, I don't know because I'm not old, but that may just be a result of being a young adult, thinking that you know everything. Like even in generations past, it's possible that people acted like they knew everything when they didn't, but now it's just different because people act like they know everything and expect to be treated like Bill Gates or whatever.
Okay.
Like everybody thinks that they deserve.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is like you just said, well, maybe they're just young adults and that's, them learning. But I'm saying that that's how they are these days. Previously, it was you work for what you get. And like if you get a good job, it's because you've tried hard. It's like you're more humble. and maybe not everyone has always been that way, but
Right.
you know, these people are more these days. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just more. I don't know. It's like, I guess back again. It is possible that like our grandparents or whatever felt like they deserved a better job than what they got, but it is totally different now. There's the expectation is exceeded, like deserving. Now it's like you owe me almost. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I
Who
agree.
am I to say?
No, it makes sense. And there's again, this is like a very specific type of people. Like this isn't everyone. And I think people know who they are. And
You
the
know
ones
who you are.
I feel like the ones that would disagree with this
Hit
are
that
the
subscribe
ones
button.
the ones that disagree would be the ones that would probably be likely to have, grown up thinking that they're entitled certain things and it has to be easy for them. And I definitely suffer from that a little bit myself. Like I can see where I have that like little bit of millennial, like, I don't necessarily, there are some days where I'm like, oh, I could have done more that day. But then like I get like a bad, not review. I don't get bad reviews, but you know what I mean? Like it's just like, but you could have done this differently. And then I'm like, oh shit, it's probably because I didn't try hard enough, but maybe that's just part of working from home. I don't know. But yeah, millennials. What can you do?
It's very tough.
Yeah.
Work from home.
It is kind of tough, but it's really nice because you can kind of do like little errands throughout the day and work from your phone.
Very tough.
Sleep in till 9, wear pajamas all day. No one will know. It's going to be tough when we move in Livermore or when we move
to an undisclosed location.
Sorry, that's just like a guess. But yeah, when we move further away from Denver, I account manage Denver for a large company, and yeah, it's going to be like a bitch to drive super far from wherever we live someday.
No, it's not. If you only have to go there once a month or whatever.
Okay, so
totally worth it.
That's fair. So as long as I can kind of get my like 6 to 10 meetings a month into one day, sure, it won't be that bad.
Or we'll just spend a night in Denver or something. We'll just get a hotel. I don't know. Horses. It's totally worth it.
Yeah, I know. It's
totally worth it. Or we could look out, a little more south and west, how we did before.
Or I can quit my job.
No.
And you can make a ton of money.
I mean, leave it up to these folks or folk. Leave it up to this
one person.
I know. That's
Lauren.
That's what I
Lauren
said to.
She'll be our super fan.
I said to Nick the whole last episode. I was talking about our one fan and how we haven't told anyone about this podcast. So it's like, as of now, as of the time that we're recording this, only a couple of people really know about this podcast. So at most, maybe we have one fan, and I'm guessing that's Josh. Oh. So last episode, I was just talking to Josh, but even Josh, I don't think is watching these. So
thanks, Josh.
Shouts out to my
just kidding. Sorry.
To my fans who are watching this. If in case my oldest brother is not, thank you to those of you, and let him know that you're watching this. Tell Josh that you're watching this. Josh Button. Food nap time.
I picture Lauren like loving this. I know she's going to have fun
recording. She's supposed to come on Sunday. So
yep.
A couple of days. And the last episode we talked about that happening. Nick and I closed out an episode talking about Lauren coming up. And then Lauren had her
Father's Day
boyfriend's dad in town. So she couldn't come on. So she's supposed to come on this weekend. And yeah, this weekend is very vague to those of you listening who have no idea what date it is, and I'll leave it like that. So.
You don't want to share the date?
Doesn't matter. But hopefully Lauren will be on our next episode with Nick and I. So we shall see.
I like Lauren. That'll be a fun podcast. Do I get to participate? Probably not.
You could. We've got a fourth
we'll see.
plug. That's another thing. I was so close to buying the extension to get a 5th and 6th plug, but I don't need it. Right now, I just don't need it.
As soon as I was drinking tonight and you were like, laptop, I was like, I'm going to look this up. I'm going to buy him a laptop tonight.
Please don't, because you're so right. I just don't need it right now.
Right.
The one I have sucks, but that's okay.
I know. That's
Make it work.
that the entire conversation that we just had. I started off with, when I drink, I like to buy things.
Yeah.
And so hit me up if you're watching this and you have some sort of like donation thing going on. You need a little help. Just say like drink a little bit.
If you want to buy pictures of her feet,
buy pictures of my feet. If you guys haven't seen them,
$200 a pop.
They're very long toes. They're like the size of my pinky. So for those of you watching, I have long hands.
If
long
that makes you want to
fingers.
break out the Benjamins, let us know. Open your wallet, open your checkbooks, send them to her feet.
If you like feet fetish, I have that for you.
takingthecredit@gmail.com. Let us know about your foot inquiries.
Gross. All your friends so far. I like feet.
Let me see your fiance's feet.
Yeah, I've got some nasty feet. They're not nasty. They're actually very nice feet. But the toes are very long. So I could imagine people would like them. The feet people.
The feet people would like them. I think they're
Probably.
great. I haven't used our little voice changer at all this episode.
Oh, God. How long are we into this right now?
Well, we're pretty deep into this, B. We're almost at an hour. So
Almost at an hour. Okay. I was going for an hour. Can I get a little bit more wine? You can talk a little bit and then...
Yeah, sure.
Ooh, voice changer. That reminds me. It was for like my birthday or something. And someone bought me one of those Clueless phones where it changed your voice.
Oh.
So it was like a see-through, like an actual like pick up the phone thing. And I remember like you could make it higher, you could make it lower. There were buttons you could push in it and be like, oh my God, whatever. And like all this stuff. And I remember prank calling so many people, like changing my voice and stuff. It was so fun.
That sounds like fun.
5th grade.
Prank calls were the stuff back in the day. I would love more, if you don't mind. Pardon the burps, gang. So I'll just keep holding down the fort while you guys, maybe you look around the room. You don't have to look at me. You can look at the clock, see it's still set at 3:16. That's how we're living. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Maybe you can see this funky chair that we got from the homie DJ D-Rec. Not from Wild and Out, Nick Cannon, but an old roommate of ours named Derek, who I called DJ D-Rec for no real reason. And then, yeah, if you're, well, I don't know if you can, well, doesn't matter. So, oh yeah, I can talk about Kirsten's feet. So my fiance, I was saying that there's a lot of money in the foot game. There's a lot of money in the foot game. And, I'm busy. I stay working. I do things. I've got hobbies. I work. I've got an internship, that
I have a fun game. Anyways, donate money to Eli. He could greatly use it. So that's where he was getting.
No. Not for free. I'm not asking for free money.
So he'll send you pictures of my feet, both of my feet. So donate to Eli for feet pictures.
takingthecredit@gmail.com. Serious inquiries only, and we're
willing to work with you. So if there are other things that you like, just let us know. Just kidding.
I don't know what that means. Maybe she'll show you some heel.
Anyways,
the foot.
We've had this for a long time. Thank you, Courtney. 99 watermelons, 99 proof liqueur, 49.5% alcohol. So it's not that exciting. But anyways, Eli is about to put this in his butt.
Is this a mixed drink?
It is a mixed drink. I poured the rest of the vodka from that one in there, so there's not a ton. That's why I brought this, because I figured we could put a little bit in there. And then I poured a little bit of soda. But you're going to either just take that real quick, or you're going to pour that in here to make it a more mixed drink.
I thought about doing neither. I thought I would just have a mixed drink with this alone.
Yeah, that's like basically... I poured the rest of it, so you have to drink this first, and then you'll drink this. Fine. That's fine. I thought it'd be exciting if Eli just drank this real quick, but he's going to let you guys down, so.
Well, if you know me, which you don't, unless you're Josh or Lauren, then you know that I don't take shots ever. So.
I used to take straight whiskey shots, whiskey and vodka.
That's why you brought that out there, thinking that maybe something exciting would happen.
Yeah.
But I know me, and nothing exciting happens with alcohol around me.
That's fair.
Not since I was 18 or whatever, and I chugged Seagram's.
Oh, God.
Was that right? Seagram's whiskey? No, Seagram's is a gin. What am I thinking of? 7 and 7. It's 7-Up and... What is that? Seagram 7. That's what it's called. Seagram 7 is a whiskey. Seagram's makes gin. Seagram 7 is a whiskey. I think it's crappy, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that was like probably the last time that I did anything really crazy, just drinking booze recklessly. I ended up with holes in the crotch of my jeans as though Wolverine struck me with his claws.
Were you raped?
I had cuts on my hands. I woke up on the back porch of some random person's house. Yeah, it was a weird night. So I tend to treat booze a little more carefully.
One of my favorite nights after drinking. Kind of, not really. Kind of drinking, not really. I was and I was just thinking about this. It was reminding me of like the whole nut, like the 7 and 7 or whatever. It was Mad Dog, right? Is that what it's called?
Wait, no. I'm thinking about hot sauce. Mad Dog. Red Dog?
Mad Dog.
The beer?
Mad Dog.
Mad Dog is liquor?
Yeah, it's some sort of like I don't even remember because
Sounds like an energy drink with booze, like Four Loko style.
I only drank it once, and it was literally this one night. And I requested it because I was only 18, I want to say. That was when I went to Alabama to go visit, I think it was Birmingham. It's like a D4 school, but it was like an Alabama university or something like that. No, actually, I take that back. Was it D1? It was D1, but it was like at the bottom of D1. It was basically a full ride scholarship, but they were like lower on the tier. So I went to go visit, and they made me go into the liquor store on this really ghetto corner. And I don't mean to say ghetto because our Uber driver from the airport told us that meant something about the Jewish people in Auschwitz, and they called like where the Jewish people were the ghetto or something like that. And then they burned them.
Always called ghettos the oppressed, where the oppressed people live. It was, you felt in danger. How
right.
about that?
Yeah, exactly. That makes more sense.
You felt unsafe in this area.
Right. But I went to the liquor store. I was like, oh shit, I don't have an ID. Like not one that says I'm 21. They didn't card me. And clearly they knew what they were doing.
By not carding you.
Yes. Yeah.
We're saving time.
But because it was it was a college visit, I had my own hotel room. And I went back to the hotel. So I got the booze for the ladies or whatever. We went and saw a movie or something like that. They dropped me back off at the hotel. The next night we actually partied, but that was like part of their recruitment thing, like go buy the booze or whatever. I know. It was so weird. But that night they like brought me back to this nice hotel, right, which is where I was staying. And it was, they had some sort of tradition. I don't remember the exact details, but it was like the college team that played in the city, like would go stay at some hotel or whatever the night before. And I remember like, I might blush because I'm talking about boys, but I was like hanging out in the hotel lobby and there was like the college team in there. And like, they came up to me because I remember they had like hot chocolate and coffee, like a machine. And so I would like go down there, I would make some. And then I remember a couple of players came up and talked to me, and I was like, "Oh, hi!" Like I'm so scared. I'm 18 years old. Like it was super awkward, 18-year-old. But I invited some to come hang out with me, and they came up to my hotel room. Nothing happened. No, nothing happened. But I just remember it was like so fun because like me coming from like a high school town, like just super white, like Louisville, super white, and then hanging out with a bunch of like college-aged like black dudes that were super nice. Like they were hilarious, and they came and hung out with me, and like that was so much fun.
I'm sure.
But I just remember like that's the underage like buying booze and like the Mad Dog, whatever, which I ended up drinking the next night.
You should have gone to that school.
You know, I think about that all the time, and I think my life would have been completely different if I had gone there, and I should have. But to be completely honest,
You wouldn't
as
have
like
met
a
me.
young, I know I wouldn't have met you, but like college would have been completely free. As a young, ignorant white woman.
It would have been way better. I wouldn't have met you, but college would have been free. So
No, I'm still paying like $40,000, but like as a young, again, white, ignorant girl, like I was afraid. I just remember like one of the days after that going into the lunch hall area and just being like one of the white people there. And like it freaked me out, 18 years old.
it's very honest of you.
Yeah.
And
I regret it though.
But the interesting thing to take away from that is, okay, as a white person, you can maneuver yourself through life so easily.
Right.
Dealing with only white people. If you really want to, you don't have to talk to any other race. You can just talk to white people. However, for black people, Mexican people, anybody stigmatized, anybody who doesn't appear to be white, you have to interact with white people. And already you're like walking into that interaction a lot of times in like already bound by prejudice and by stigma and by whatever. I mean, I don't mean to use stigma. I don't mean to like generalize or anything, but I guess you're already walking in at a disadvantage. So it's interesting to be in the position where you feel like the tables have turned. And even then, it's probably not as bad because all of those players, all of that college, they're probably not thinking like, oh shit, here comes a white person.
Right.
But, like when the tables are turned, somebody whose family has suffered, hundreds and thousands of years of racism, oppression, all of that, and then they have to live their life interacting mainly with large groups of people who don't look like them. That's got to be terribly uncomfortable. So, like, I mean, you had that experience. Yeah. And then those people, like everybody else at that college, probably has a similar experience to what you had everywhere else outside of college.
Right.
Every day, forever. And yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm not saying that it's weird. I'm not saying that it's terrible because in a lot of places everybody's amicable, but it is something worth thinking about that we have this place of privilege where if we choose to, we could only see white faces, but no one else has that option.
Your schooling, like that was such a good description because like being a white person surrounded by white people, when I put myself in an environment that has less white people, it's scary. And not like scary, sorry, that sounds bad. It's intimidating. And I think that's my ignorance, like just not knowing.
Yeah.
And then like for those people, like African-American people, black people in Alabama, right? And they're surrounded by each other, their own race. They're like, okay, here we are. And then they leave and put themselves in Colorado, for an example, like a lot of white people.
Yep.
Like it's got to be feel like,
it's a culture shock.
Right. Yeah. But again, like I completely admitting my ignorance and stupidity, I would say, and just not thinking like I should have at 18 years old. That's like honestly probably one of my biggest regrets, like no doubt, was, I've talked about California, like I regret that entire experience because of things, but like I feel like Alabama, like that would have been awesome. Like those people, everyone that I met, everyone that I met out there were super nice. They were awesome, very welcoming. It was just at that age, it was like I just couldn't imagine it. And
it's hard to reflect on things and try to say that you wish that things would change because, you know, if you went to Alabama, things could have been similar to California, just in a different area, and things
True.
could be a little bit different. But, you know, like they have their own, every place has its own battles and
Right.
their own challenges. So, you know,
Yeah.
the important thing is you've made it through.
Yeah.
And you're strong.
Right.
And you can look back on things and see what's wrong.
Yeah.
Where did I do things right?
Exactly. Like I feel like as like a more mature adult now, it's like I would have had so much fun there. It would have been free college. I would have had probably made like the best friends of my life out there. And like I already got along with the people that I practiced with. Like it was a really good experience being out there. But I think after everything, like when I came back to Colorado after that visit, it was just the culture shock that got me. I think that was the biggest thing. But that, again, I was just like, oh, I'm going to go to California because it's California.
But if you went to California now, like now for it?
No, I would hate it so much. I would rather go back to Alabama. I'd be like, hell yeah.
If you'd never experienced California, and you knew what you know now, and you are who you are now, and you went there, you would make it into a good experience because you know your personal boundaries.
Yes.
You know what you want to make out of it. You know what you want to do. All that was missing was that maturity and the experience that you happened to gain at that time.
Exactly.
So it sucked, but it molded you into who you are.
Right. Exactly. And that's a biggest thing is like just thinking back to that time in my life. Like I know that there were things that like I just didn't understand or wasn't capable of really grasping and like just like, again, ignorant. Like that's the biggest word I can think of. And like now as an adult and learning more through life, everything, it's like that would have been the better experience for me. And that would have been ultimately probably the better plan of my life. And here I am now.
It seems to work out if you ask me.
Yeah, kind of. I guess so. I mean, either way, well, I guess, yeah, never mind. California, like that was a whole mess up. So I probably would have been back here. If I was in Alabama, I probably would have stuck it out. I probably would have met someone awesome down there. And I just would have lived my life down there, to be completely honest. But
somebody way more awesome than me.
Probably, but just kidding. I'm just kidding. But
probably didn't have half the drive.
Maybe.
Just kidding.
But here we are. Anyways, yeah, I would take back California in a heartbeat. That's like the biggest. That's like anxiety and everything built up into one. Yeah, that would be a good podcast someday to just talk about everything. You know.
Yeah, if you want to unload, yeah, maybe that'll be number 100.
Maybe. Yeah, that would take some time to share.
Beast. Yeah.
But that was a crazy experience. But it's funny because when I think about college experiences, visiting some schools for volleyball, Alabama was my favorite, but I remember going to Rhode Island and like, here's the thing is like the sound, I don't know how to say it without sounding like bad. In Alabama, those girls were awesome. They were super nice, welcoming. Like they took care of everything, super sweet. And then I go out to Rhode Island and they were a bunch of dicks. Like those girls were the fucking worst. Like those were like the entitled ones. They like ditched me at a party. They got me wasted and I had a flight the next day at like 8 a.m. and they ditched me. They left me behind with their like soccer team, which were a bunch of creeps. And I remember like calling them all like, hey, how do I get home? Blah, blah, blah. Like, where are you? And like, they like, it took them like hours to respond. And I was just like at this party drunk in a corner. And I was like, really? They wanted me to die basically, but they're the worst. So if you're listening to this, don't go to Rhode Island, Johnson and Wales. It is the worst. They're awful, awful people, I'm sure still.
That should be self-explanatory. Don't go to Rhode Island for any reason. Don't even drive through it.
No.
It's small enough you can drive around it. You heard what my fiance said about it, so don't support Rhode Island. If you are the state of Rhode Island and you want to sponsor this podcast, let me know. But otherwise, piss off, Rhode Island. And I think that's okay to say. I think there are only about 100 people who are from there. The likelihood of any of them listening to this is pretty pretty small. So
Yep.
with that said, all my homies in India who are catching this podcast, shouts out to you. That's probably our biggest audience. And I don't know because I haven't told anyone about it. So anyway, shouts out to Bangladesh.
Nice.
Yeah. So, B, we are well over the time that we normally do.
Okay.
So I am going to go through a couple of things that Nick and I did on the last podcast that I think would be worthwhile to keep going. So if you don't mind going, just talking about something nice or something good that's happened to you in the past week. So let us know.
Something nice or kind that's happened to me. Well, you've done plenty of things for me in the last week. Groceries, back rubs, foot rubs, leg rubs, everything. Taking the pee out, doing some vacuuming. But honestly, my favorite thing today, like of the last week or whatever, outside of the things you've done, that's a whole other category. I got my hair done today, which was only like $50 for my wedding. And my hairdresser, her name is Chantel Hansen, and she is basically getting some sort of degree in like human life coaching. She literally was like, I'll be there for your hair, like your wedding day. You don't have to give me like anything. If you want, donate to this cause. Obviously I gave a decent amount because I appreciate her and the work that she's done, and I really like appreciate what she's trying to do for her life.
Yeah, maybe explain a little bit more about it because, okay, well, I'll just say something. I was a little bit hesitant, and maybe somebody listening feels the way that I do about hearing life coach because there's no requirement for becoming a life coach. But I don't know this lady. What I know about her is that she has talents in multiple areas.
Photographer, hairdresser, a life coach. Like she's literally like the perkiest, happiest person. And she's not like in your face, like fake perky. Like she is such a sweet person.
So let's just focus on the different things that she does. I was hesitant about hearing life coach, but what I feel like it boils down to, not that I'm saying that like we're trying to support her GoFundMe or anything like that, but if somebody has talents in multiple areas and they work at them, you know that person has work ethic and that they'll work hard and that they will do whatever it takes to be successful. Whether or not you're a fan of photography, makeup, or hairdressing, you should respect that somebody is willing to learn those trades and work at those trades in order to be paid for their work in all of those areas. So that's kind of where my mentality changed. Like, if you hear life coach, some of you may feel like I do and feel like a negative stigma, but if you know what somebody's potential and what their work ethic is, it puts a little bit more validation towards their effort. So that's what we learned.
Right. That was earlier. I mentioned, I'll get to the story in just a second, but I was telling Eli about this and he was like, life coach. And I was like, okay, not only life coach, but literally she's doing hair. She's taking pictures. Like she's doing a ton of things outside of just like this one thing that is like her life goal. But yeah, she wants to be like a life coach and like help people. And just from having a conversation with her doing my hair today, like she's such a great person. And I imagine that she'll do well with this goal of hers outside of the other things that she's doing in her life. But anyways, the nice thing this week, she did my hair today for the wedding, just to kind of prep and see what it would look like. And like literally I said, okay, this is the date of the wedding. Can you come be here? Can you do our hair for like 3 people? And she said, sure. I just want you to know, like, it doesn't cost anything if you can donate, to this cause that I have created for my life coaching. It's like some sort of schooling and some other information. Long story short, it was like, please donate whatever you feel fit to have come do my hair. And like that was I don't know, like any other person that I've gone to for like hair, makeup, wedding stuff, like you tack on the word wedding and it's like $500 more. So for her to be like, I'll be there, it's on the schedule, donate what you see fit. Like, it's not even like you have to give me $100, like $50. She would have been there. And like, that was super nice.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, I think for sure, like if she's like opening it up, like, hey,
I know, I'm just
donate
kidding.
what you will. I take that as like, and we
I'm
ended
just
up donating
kidding.
a lot of money to her. Like my mom.
What's her
and
name? Say her name again.
Chantel Hansen.
Chantel Hansen, and she owns her own business or works somewhere?
She is a photographer, and she also does hair at Studio Boom.
Studio Boom, Longmont, Colorado. If anyone backlog looks through this, look her up or something, support her. Yeah. Why not? Great. Well, that's something nice for you. Something nice for me. I've been
Chipotle.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm always looking into stuff. My hobby meter is set to it's dialed up to 12 at all times out of 10. My dial's broken. My hobby meter,
like your hobbies,
my hobby meter is dialed to 12 out of 10.
How long did it come up to, or how long did it take you to come up with that hobby meter?
A couple seconds when I started the sentence.
Sorry.
So I stay busy with required things to stay busy with. I stay busy with work. I stay somewhat busy with my internship stuff, homework, graduate school. Me. Kirsten, so I stay busy with these things, but I also, there are so many relationships between having goals and happiness, not having goals and depression, not having goals and anxiety, having goals and obliterating depression. I don't know. I lost my mom. I feel like I have the right to say I've been depressed, but I don't know. And I don't really think so. I've been sad. I've been really bummed out. But something that I always have going for me is an objective. I've always got something to work towards. If it's school, if it's an A in a class, if it's learning how to sample music and play music, if it's learning how to set up this podcast, if it's learning how to deadlift with proper form, whatever it is, I find something to focus on and work on and get better at. And that, even though it adds to my I'm busy time, I'm busy, but I'm working on my progression. So with that said, something nice in the past week, my lady over here who's looking like she's real upset for whatever reason, she got me a keyboard. So that should be coming in tomorrow, and I'll get to play with that and make it work. And I look forward to learning how to play the piano, and I look forward to messing with it. So that's something nice for me. How long have you been tuned out?
I'm listening.
Oh, hard to believe. All right. Well, zero reaction and all that. Listening. I guess I could end it now, but I will finish it out with one other thing that Nick and I did the last episode we think may as well continue. A little would you rather question. So I'm not going to like read through these and choose the one I feel like is best. I'm just going to pick one. We'll talk about it and then we'll close it out, B.
Okay.
Would you rather live inside a museum or live inside a zoo?
Zoo.
Why?
So I can make the other animals feel better about being in a zoo.
You as a person?
Yeah.
And how would you make them feel better?
By telling them it's okay, and that even if they're suffering because they're trapped, that someone cares about them, and whenever they pass away, I will comfort them and make sure that they're not alone.
So the animals understand English?
Maybe not. This reminds me of the time when the bunny got run over by a car and you laughed at me and I was trying to tell you that it was sad.
All right, gang. Well, that calls it for this episode. You heard it here. All right. Well, I agree. I would live. Well, shit. I would live in a museum. I do not agree. I would live in a museum. A zoo is entirely too depressing. All of the animals are locked up. I get it that kids get to learn a little bit about animals, but the internet exists, so fuck a zoo. And catch me in a museum. I'll be on top of the T-Rex. Okay, guys. Well, I think we should wrap it. Thanks for joining. If you stayed till the end, God bless you. And yeah, if you want to give us a contact, send us any sort of artwork, music, whatever. takingthecredit@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys soon.